Welcome to Ground Up Growth, where we share entrepreneurial insights, business strategies, and personal growth lessons to help listeners build success from the ground up.
Welcome back to Ground Up Growth. Today we are doing episode 2 with Webb Emerson. He is the owner of Form Design Build, a design build commercial construction company here in Jackson, Mississippi.
It's a mouthful. I
is.
apologize.
Webb, thanks for coming back with us. And
Absolutely.
we're going to hone in on a pointed topic today. Hannah, what you want to talk about?
So in the last episode, you talked a lot about core values, kind of the way that, so you've been in the industry for 10 years, business 3 years old, but you understand a lot of stuff that I feel like I'm aligned with you in a lot of it. And where I've heard it, I haven't lived it, a lot of it yet. Like I have marketing industry experience, but like as far as owning a business, my business is 3 years old also, and I'm learning this from different resources and mentors and stuff like that. So I'm listening to you, and I'm like, where are you getting all this stuff? Like, who's mentored you along the way? What are your resources? How do you learn all this? Where do you, and of course you're learning every day, and
Sure.
obviously you're always paying attention, and you just have that mindset. But I want to hear more about who's kind of shaped you to get you to this point.
Yeah, my dad's probably the number one, just given that he's been in this business. He's worked for a variety of different companies. Like I said, Turner, one of the largest in the world. He owned his own company for a minute that was doing like residential construction, very small. Then worked for a little bit bigger company, and then he's been where he's been for the last 20. And so he's seen the industry from all sides, literally from 10 to 0 on size wise. And so he's always been a great mentor to me. He continues to be. I can always go to him for advice. I always say he's forgotten more about construction than I'll ever know. And so when you have a resource like that that's close to you, it's huge, especially when they're family and they can't get mad at you and they can't charge you for their advice when you ask questions. So that's one. And then I think the exposure that I got working at a larger company, kind of like y'all said earlier, that went through, like a lot of businesses that stretch a long period of time. There's ownership changes, there's buyouts, there's things like that. And so given my position, but then my experience at that company, even before I got hired full time, I kind of knew everybody. I was comfortable with everybody. I was Jeff's son, but I was also an employee. But because of his role, I was kind of able to see behind the curtain a little bit into how an operation in a business of 150 people runs. And they did a lot of great things, and there were some things that they kind of had to figure out on the fly too down the road in terms of, like I said, core values, org charts, things like that. And so I kind of put that in the back of my filing cabinet, not knowing that I'd end up owning my own company. But then as we've gotten here, I've tried to just be early on as much of that kind of stuff you can. Like, you can't develop a culture too early. You can't think about the core values of your business too early, and how that impacts people. And so I think that's one of the big areas that the resources I've had was my prior work experience, my father, and then also too, just I'm passionate about what I do, and anything that you're passionate about in life, you're gonna, especially if you're competitive and want to be good at things. Well, like I said, whether it's golf, turkey hunting, mahjong, whatever your thing is, business, I just go try to find everything I can about it. And one of the great things too about social media is, there's a lot of people that are just selling, courses and I'm an expert, but like there's also a lot of really good resources out there and good people. And so I try to follow every person that I think is of quality in our space or business or whatever, and just absorb as much of that information as I can. There's definitely like my strengths, definitely, accounting is not one of my strengths. So I've hired a part-time CFO to help handle accounting. I can do project accounting well, but macro business accounting, not my strength. Marketing, like I like social media and that thing, but I didn't have the time. So I hired a marketing agency to help me. I'm quick to admit the areas that I'm not good at things and then try to find people that are. I think knowing your weaknesses as a business owner and operator is one of your strong. That's a huge asset.
It's very integral.
And
I
not being
harp on that all the time.
Yeah.
Get out of your own way.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'll be the first one to say I try to save a dollar and do something myself, but, you know, if it's not your lane or if it's a weakness for you, I mean, that's...
We're going to take away from the thing that makes you money or makes your business grow and makes it successful if you can find people that are better at it than you. And in today's world, there's just more resources in terms of people doing part-time CFO or part-time marketing agency on retainer that probably wasn't available because of technology 10, 15, 20 years ago. And so for a business starting out, you know, everybody thinks, I got to go hire that person. Well, it's hard to go find the right person. That also costs a lot more money and, you know, insurance and overhead and truck and fuel and to hire that person, where if now there's resources at our grasp where, I can go hire that agency to work on a retainer, and it's going to save me a lot of money. And they're focused on that one thing instead of trying to bring it all in-house. And so staying lean has been a big thing for us too. You know, people think commercial construction company and they drive by, you know, Parkway Church that we're building over here. It's a 40,000 square foot, $15 million building. And they think, golly, they must have 50 people working for them. It's like, no, we have 5. One's in Oxford. One of them's me. Have a superintendent, assistant superintendent on that site, and a project manager that's over that project. And so they're like, well, how are y'all doing all this? And, you know, running a business and managing it's, well, using the tools that are available in the market now, and willing to admit that, like, I don't need to hire that person right now. There will come a time where I do need to hire a full-time CFO, but you don't need to do that just because whether it's ego or you think that makes my business look bigger or better or whatever. It could actually be the biggest thing that hurts you because you're spending money that you don't need to.
Yes. That kind of goes in that column of delayed gratification in a way, which I'm a huge fan of. I like that. I mean, staying lean and mean.
I think that's been a common theme too with some of your guests. Like listening to the Odo Pro interview the other day. I forget her name right now, but
Grace.
she talked a lot about that, of staying. She had opportunities to sell or sell all these different products and try to do more and more and more, but she worried that would sacrifice the true quality and service of her business. And so that resonated really well with me. I think that's just be who you are and do what you do, and don't try to do things that you're not good at, and and there's plenty of people that are talented in that, and go seek them out. In terms of just resources too, I think my degree helped me a lot. I mean, a lot of people go, okay, college, you learn some things and not all of it's applicable. There was a lot of stuff that wasn't, but we had to do we did more projects, and just standing up in front of a class and speaking is our project, and presenting an estimate to 4 people that are in the construction industry and having to back up what you did in front of them at 18, 19 years old when you don't know anything. I think that's helped a ton now, being able to walk into a presentation when you're the youngest guy in the room pitching a project. It's like, well, I've been doing that since I was 18. So I think that helped a lot in my degree. I learned things about construction too, but unfortunately or fortunately in our business, a lot of it is just learned by doing, which I like. That's the best way to learn.
That's most industries too.
Yeah.
I mean,
but ours is just, it's a little bit more challenging because you've got to get to a job site. That's that size and has those components. Everyone's different. Every job is different. Everything's built differently, but just as much exposure as you can get. And so those internships are what are the most valuable, especially in our industry. The earlier you can get, whether it's pushing a broom at 16 in the summer you're going to learn so much. I've learned a lot through osmosis. Just being in the room, it's not really osmosis, but business osmosis. You're being in the room, you don't realize how much stuff you learn by just listening and hearing the talk.
That's what I tell our agents all the time, because it's like, it's very ironic that the agents that come in our office, if you just come in and sit down and
stuff happens.
I don't care if you've got any work to do or not, being marinated in that office somehow breeds success.
Yep.
It's amazing. And you cannot put your thumb on it. But like I have seen it time and time again with our company. It's, if you're not involved, if you're not plugged in, you're swimming upstream, in my opinion. And being exposed just in those conversations in any industry, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Is it's going to affect you. You're going to absorb it, whether you can realize it or not.
And you learn how to talk the talk too. I mean, so much in what you do is being confident in what you say and knowing the right words. And I mean, if you're a 21-year-old kid coming out of college, like, you're not going to know all the things to say. And if you're not in the middle of it and in the weeds and just being around people that do know, like, you're not going to learn. And so that's the biggest piece of advice I can give anybody that goes, I want to work for a commercial construction company one day. If you're sitting in high school or in college right now, it's go get experience. And it doesn't have to be, oh, I'm the intern on a $150 million building with some large company. It can be with anybody.
Yeah.
You just need to get in the industry.
And be vulnerable.
Yes.
And be willing to learn, ask questions.
Be willing to work
Yep.
12 hours a day if you have to.
Yes, I mean, that's...
And it'll pay off, because then when you do come out, you're going to separate yourself. You're not going to realize how much you've learned until you get in that position, and you're going to go, oh man, I remember I heard that in my internship, or I've seen this before. And so it's just all about getting that experience. And there's so much opportunity for that, especially in today's world where people don't want to go and do a job in person and go do something that can be physically demanding or time demanding. Like, if you are willing to do that, like, you're going to set yourself apart. I think COVID was obviously terrible for a lot of reasons, but our industry didn't stop. We did not work from home. Like, even if we were in the office, like, how can we work from home and have everybody out in the field still building a building? Like, that's just not right. And so, some people were able to do, people were like, oh, I can work from home now. It's like, I'm very much the opposite of that. It's like, we can't do what we do without being there. And another byproduct of that is being in the office together, being able to collaborate, work together.
Right. Yeah,
you
the
don't get that.
collaboration.
You can't do what we do from your house on a Zoom call.
That's right. And that proves the whole point of being marinated, sitting in the office.
Yep.
I mean, COVID proved that.
Yes.
A lot of companies saw their production go down, and just the inefficiency of not being together.
Face-to-face
Collaborating.
communication.
Yeah. I mean, that's just such an elementary or kind of minute thing when you just kind of think about it, but there's some serious value there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that can be applied in so many ways. I mean,
Yeah.
I think about just like our preacher at church was talking about, bringing your young kids in there to be in the service. And like my 4-year-old daughter, like, sitting in the service, she's not going to understand what he's saying at all. But somehow, some way,
Yeah.
being marinated there, sitting in it, something comes out
It's
of
going to
it.
be ingrained in her. And so then when she is old enough to realize, she's like, well, I've always been sitting in church.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You realize that
Yeah.
you may not understand it at the time, but it's going to show up down the road, and being in it is going to make a difference for sure. No
Yeah.
doubt.
That application can be applied anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
That's good stuff. I like that. Yeah. I'm going to have a mandatory agent meeting at the office today.
We do.
boy.
We have a Monday morning, and we're not all in person because obviously we're on job sites and everything.
Right.
But we have a 45-minute Monday morning team meeting, and we just kind of go overview what's everybody doing. I think it's important too, because you can get so siloed. I'm sure you experience this
Yes.
with agents are all basically independent contractors that work for you. They wear your brand and they work for you, but they all operate kind of their own separate business.
Mm-hmm.
And ours isn't that extreme, but like, everybody's on different projects. We have a team member in Oxford, so forcing those times of like, hey, it's not just about telling y'all what I need y'all to do. It's more about, hey,
Yeah.
they see what other people are doing.
That's right.
And go, oh, I understand what he's working on, or I see the stage of this project, or hey, I have an issue. Can we crowdsource this thing and try to find a solution? And
Oh,
we can't
gosh.
always do it in
Yeah.
person, but
Round table, man, I
5
love it.
heads is a lot better than 1 or 2 in a silo. And so having those, we have those, and then on our projects, we have internal, weekly meetings we go, all right, we're going to that job site. We're going to sit down. We're going to run through what's going on, plan for the next week. And
Forcing that is really big, and I commend you for doing that, because in a world of, you could easily sit there and say,
Text.
hey, we got 5 jobs going, y'all go to your job, we don't have time, it's costing us money. It's very parallel to my business and situation, because it's like, for instance, today after the podcast we have our quarterly agent meeting. So I'll get all the agents in one room. Okay, what happens when you get everybody in one room? That means nobody's selling real estate.
Sure.
So it's like by default, it's easy to sit there and say, well, that's not productive.
Yeah, the
We shouldn't be
KPI
doing
tells
that.
you that you shouldn't do it, but
Right. But there is something to say about everybody sticking their hand in the huddle and you know.
Yeah.
well, I think it helped just everybody understanding what other people are going through on their job, but also it allows for that 5 minutes before the meeting where people can ask about each other's kids. How's your wife doing? Hey, y'all just had a baby. Y'all are going out of town. You get some of that non-work talk as a team on the beginning, and then you get a little bit of it at the end too.
Yeah.
And I think we can't all go to a, Mississippi State game every day and hang out outside of the office. But like I said in the previous episode, we spend a lot of time, spend most of our waking hours together, at work. And so I think that bringing people together handles business in the middle. But on that outside, it allows you to have a little bit of that personal people relationship with people outside of work and keeping up with what they're doing. If you don't have those meetings, you don't get any of that. If it's like, hey, just go do your job.
Morale up
Yeah.
with the company.
If it's just call me if you need something, go do your project, well, then it's just very transactional.
Yes.
And there's also, you can go off the other end and have what people have a meeting every day. Like we have some projects where they want to require a monthly meeting, or not a monthly meeting, a weekly meeting for a project. Well, then you get in a pattern where all you're doing is prepping for the meeting. And then you get out of the meeting, you got a to-do list, but then you got to turn around and plan for the meeting the next week.
You're exactly right.
So there's a fine balance there of like being efficient with that time, but not going overboard with it, and not just then you look up and go, well, how do we build anything? Because all we're doing is meeting about the meeting.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Meetings
So
about a meeting, and
that there's a balance there. I think it's important.
Yeah, that's so true. I've seen that. We got an office in January, and it's been great. Just from having our team together, and then we'll be on calls, and it's like me and Riley, but Natalie hears something that's relevant for her in that conversation, and then she can ask us after.
For sure.
It's been so beneficial. And even I've been thinking a lot about our relationship with our clients, and we have fantastic relationships with our clients, and it's like my favorite part of the business. From a business development standpoint, one thing, just to be really vulnerable, in the past 2 months, I guess, it's just been crazy. Like whether it's we're meeting with our current clients, I feel like I don't have a second of the day. And there was 1 week where I had 5 or 6 people call me, and I needed to send them a proposal after. And I was like, I try to do it very timely, have a brief conversation with them, get them something so they have time to stew on it. And I was like, the easiest thing for me to do, I can't get to where they are right now. I can't have a meeting with them. And I like to sit down with people, especially if I'm trying to get their business.
That's huge. Yeah.
And
we can touch
I
on
was
that too.
Okay, I've got 3 days basically. And I can't meet with them. I'm going to write a proposal and send them a Loom video, record myself. I'm going to walk them through the proposal, send them the link. We'll see how it goes. I don't think I've gotten that business. I have not heard back from these people. And I followed up, but it's what I learned from that is scratch it. Just tell them, hey, I want to get this to you as soon as I can, but I can't meet with you this week. I wish I could, and I'm going to have to move it to next week. But what I learned from that is you got to go sit down with them. Because now they don't even feel like they need to return an email to me.
I've been talking about this, if any of my guys listen to this, Webb, you've been talking about this a bunch. But in our business, people just want to see the number so much. Sounds like, y'all have a lot more. Y'all can't just distill your stuff down to a number on a piece of paper as much because of what you do. But if that's what we get distilled down to, is if I send a 5-page proposal to somebody, they're going to flip to the last sheet and look at the bottom line number.
Price. Yeah.
And sometimes we have to, if we're submitting a bid and there's protocols on how we have to turn it in, but if it's a negotiated deal and we can take the time to go meet, I need to be better about doing that because I've got 7 proposals I'm trying to get out to people. I'm doing it at 8:00 at night. I want to get it and check it off the list. But what I'm doing is I'm automatically just making myself a number, and I'm giving them a reason to not just respond, where I want to go in and sit down and explain it. Because look, a lot of people can build buildings. There's tons of great contractors, but we're trying to be a problem solver. And if my number is a little bit higher than somebody else, well, I need to be able to explain to you, well, here's all the problems that we're solving for you. And then they may go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Now I understand why he was $50,000 higher on a $10 million job. And I'm not just going to throw it out because he's not low.
Right.
And so, but that's something that I have to fight of. I'm trying to do as much as I can in the amount of time that I can. I'm thinking, oh, I'm being timely. I'm getting stuff to them quick. They like that. I'm responsive. But that is true. But I'm also sacrificing that opportunity to really show what goes into that number. What are we providing? What problems are we solving? How are we doing it differently than our competitor that has a number at the bottom of a page too? Yeah. I think that's just inherently tough when you're trying to grow and you got a lot of things going on. But literally been talking about it a ton lately, is I'm done sending proposals that I'm not required to just send via email or submit to a bid portal. If we can, I'm going to go to them. If that means I have to, fight the urge of, man, I really want to go and I'm tired of waiting a week, or don't want to wait 2 weeks where it fits their calendar. It's like, if I wait that 2 weeks, it's probably going to give me a higher hit rate and a chance to get that project. Right. So I definitely feel what you're saying there. But I think that's just an urge. We can do stuff so quick now with technology. We can we have spreadsheets, templates. We can put all the info in, produce a proposal, looks good, send the email, and oh wait, I sent that at Friday at 3:30. Well, they're not going to look at that till Monday at 9 now, and it's probably going to be buried under 80 other emails. And then now I got to follow up, and now I'm bugging them where I could have just said, hey, I've got availability in the next week or 2 weeks. Like, let's set up a time to meet in person so I can walk you through this. And the projects that we've done that, it goes so much better. Yeah. And we convert at a higher rate. So it's counterintuitive when you're like, oh, I want to get as many at-bats. I want to throw as many darts out there as I can. And that's going to give me a higher chance to get more work, which is true.
Being more intentional.
But be more intentional with that. I think over time we'll convert more. Yeah. So 100%. Definitely feel that with you there.
That's good stuff.
You talked about how we can do things so fast, like with that. How are you using AI in your business?
Construction is one of those industries where I like it because I feel like we're kind of insulated from AI a little bit. It's starting to pop up again, I don't want to nerd out too much for everybody. They'll be falling asleep in their car. But like, there's a lot of AI software that's starting to be utilized in estimating, where we get a set of plans, we can upload PDFs to a software, and instead of having to go in and somebody we have software that you click to count how many doors or whatever there may be. Like, there's programs now that you put that in and it automatically will recognize certain notes and tags on a set of plans and will kind of produce a takeoff for you. So that's one way. I use it some. We'll get asked on random projects to create very specific documents. Like, we have to provide an affidavit of, non-collusion or whatever. And I don't have that form, and I don't really want to generate one. So I'll use Claude or Chat or something like that to produce a very specific document that then I can put on our letterhead and use. So just little stuff like that would have taken me 30 minutes to make. Yeah. Okay, it took 5. Yeah. So just trying to be efficient there. But at the end of the day, until I see AI or a robot, lay masonry, like you put brick up, or lay asphalt, or pour concrete, or build forms, or hang sheetrock, or frame walls, or run sprinkler pipe. Like, the amount of things in our industry that it takes a person. I've noticed, like, we're trying to take the human element out of so much of what we do. We see it on our side of somebody wants to be able to flip a switch and all the doors in the building lock. It's like, okay, that's great, but this is a public building where you want people to come in. Yeah. How are you going to just, at the end of the day, we know on the Sunday school wing, they're going to prop the door open during church and everybody's going to walk in. Well, just because you put access control on that doesn't mean you're still going to have to go unprop that door and let it close. So you spend all this money to try to take the human element out. So I think AI it will probably affect construction more on on the estimating side, accounting side, probably some safety type stuff. But in terms of building a building, at the end of the day, it still takes 50 to 100 people that are specialized in that particular trade, which that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm so passionate about construction, and especially in this area, that, you know, there's labor shortages all across the country. You hear about construction prices going up because there aren't enough people to do the work. But especially in the South, and I think you're seeing a lot of growth in construction in the South, because that blue collar lifestyle is still very, like, it's thriving here. People can see that I can go be an electrician or a plumber or hang sheetrock or frame metal studs, and I can make a great living for my family, live in a place that I can afford. My kids can go to school. I can work for good companies for 30 or 40 years and retire. I think that excites me, and that our trades are gonna be strong. And now people are noticing that, and we're putting more resources into developing trades, shops going back into schools more, you know, programs at junior colleges for specific trades are being developed. You know, at Itawamba Community College, they have a very strong construction program that's a 2-year degree, and that gives me a lot of hope. That will kind of buck the AI. Like, if we have a thriving labor force that can see a path to be successful and have a good future and provide for their family, like, more and more people are going to go do that, and that's only going to help sustain our construction industry going forward. Not anti-AI. It's just, our business is harder for it to integrate into on the actual end product. It will help us be efficient on the office stuff, but in terms of building buildings,
you're AI proof for now.
For now, we're insulated a little bit. Like, if you'll see those graphs, and it's like what industries are most affected by AI right now, and construction is one of the ones that's like closest to the middle, meaning that it's the least impacted. So I'm good with that.
There you go. Well, we really appreciate you coming on, man. You got an incredible story. You got a really good business, and I think you're going to do very, very well.
Well, I appreciate that.
I could see you like rebuilding like Daytona International Speedway one day or something like that.
Hey,
and then come back on the podcast and tell us.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I tell people we don't build houses and hospitals, but we'll build just about anything else. So, and the hospital part might change down the road if we keep growing.
There you go.
So,
don't rule it out.
No. Well, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for y'all's time.
On.
I learned a lot from y'all as well during this, and maybe we can do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.